transferring your pod into a ship provided by air as part of your capsule. Captain, an unidentified part. Vectoring escape route. Evacuation sequence initiated. Station hull integrity compromised.
Okay, so this is apparently the new introduction video. And let's begin the new player experience.
Captain, this cloning facility was attacked before your capsule could be inserted into a ship. I initiated our evacuation sequence before we reached the hangar. This baptism by fire is certainly not what Air had planned for your first day in a pod. I'm unable to identify our attackers, but they are not currently targeting our capsule. This gives us
I wonder
time
if
to
this
locate
is
the ship.
some defect of Linux graphics, or Aura does look really weird in this rendering.
Your pod may be able to fly through space, but like all capsules, it is Now,
Okay,
let's get a better look
camera.
at our surroundings.
Scrolling, zooming.
There is a ship still capable of flight. An Astero, no less. A fine ship indeed.
Seriously?
I have
Okay,
highlighted the
civilian
navigation
Astero.
section of your display.
Fine,
Use it to approach the ship.
that will take some time. Pods are horrendously slow.
Board the Astero now.
Okay, that's also unusual. Civilian Astero.
Our shields took significant damage in the attack.
And apparently are completely missing, yes.
The armor is also in need of repair.
Yes, so there are 3 bars. The upper one is the shield level, then the armor level, and then the hull level.
I believe the appropriate idiom for this situation is, we're screwed.
Come on.
Fortunately, the cavalry has arrived. Ships bearing air transponders are approaching our location.
Yes, some blue NPCs incoming. Great. I mean, this is quite cinematic, but I wonder if I can cancel this.
All ships evacuating this cloning facility are
Several thousand civilians appear to have survived the attack. Let us make haste and join the fleet Commander Ferris is organizing. Your
Okay.
overview.
Apparently we have no modules whatsoever on this ship,
Captain, your
and
vessel
still
is
no
likely to
interface to do
another day.
anything.
I'll repair you once you're in range.
Well,
Commander Ferris, were you able to determine the identity of our attackers?
Negative, Aura. Their transponders were cloaked and their hulls lacked any identifying information.
yeah.
I'd wager this was an act of corporate espionage.
Our AI is talking to another person for us. That's the future.
Whatever the cost.
And apparently we
Thanks
got
to
some
Commander
remote
Ferris's
repair
repairs,
from the guy.
Our ship is almost as good as new.
All ships enter
Yeah,
formation.
except for it being a civilian Astero, and apparently having, well, there are some guns, we just don't see them and cannot use them. So, what's next? Still no right click menu.
Active.
Okay, that's interesting. That's something new. So apparently, if I keep exploring the game for the next 120 minutes, I will get additional ISK bonus. So yeah, that would be the goal for today, to survive for these 2 hours and to earn as much as possible.
We've now arrived at Air's designated emergency evacuation zone. We'll be safe here while we regroup.
A spot well chosen. This this location's cosmic abnormal, but our appreciation of New Eden's natural wonders will have to wait.
Captain, I could use your help. My sensors are picking up a strange signal nearby, but my forces are stretched thin defending the civilian fleet. The cosmic storm likes to play with our sensors, so it could be nothing. But after that attack, I'm not taking any chances.
So approach another 72 kilometers away thing.
Captain.
Will we get an afterburner at least? Okay, at least we can have a look at this. Looks like Jovian Observatory to me. Nothing special really.
Initiating scan of unidentified signal. Captain,
Okay.
hostiles inbound.
I mean, I understand that this is a new player experience,
We
but
have to defend those
it is
unarmed
horribly
civilian
slow,
transports. All ships
even
equipped for
compared to the
combat,
previous
form up around
ones.
me.
Yeah, very nice. Default orbit 1250 meters.
My sensors indicate
Makes no
that
sense
these
at
are
all.
the same ships that attacked the cloning facility.
Okay. Unknown hostiles that actually look like different pirate factions. So this is Macariel from Angel Cartel. And what else do I have here?
Several frigates are
I
breaking
definitely
away
have
from
seen
attack.
Rebels.
They're targeting
Okay, that's
civilian
another
ships.
Angel frigate.
This will be your first combat experience as a capsuleer.
Okay,
Time
yeah,
to show
sure.
these hostiles what you're truly
So
made
these
of.
icons here indicate different sizes of the ships. So these small triangles are frigates, the smallest ones. Then we have this 5-sided polygon which indicates battlecruiser, and this 6-sided fat arrow up is battleship.
Orbit the frigate first.
Okay. Apparently we are quite
Too
immune
far
to
away,
any
Captain.
damage from
Thankfully,
these
our
frigates,
ship
so
is equipped with a
it doesn't
module
really
that
matter.
will boost our speed.
I wonder what this tool will show. If we ever start shooting, actually. Okay, we now actually have some interface, so we have apparently 2 pulse lasers, a Webifier, an afterburner, and jammer. Yeah, makes no sense. Okay,
Activate
need
the
to skip.
afterburner module highlighted on your display.
Fine.
My database of ancient idioms contains a phrase, "We're too far away, Captain."
I would prefer to use buttons, but I'm not allowed to. Okay.
Target lock confirmed.
Yeah. Okay, I actually am shooting something, and I actually
That's it, Captain.
have some
Let 'em
damage
have it.
coming into the logs, so the tool is showing data. We are now apparently sometimes missing our target, but overall
Well
it
done,
looks okay.
Captain. Now orbit, lock, and fire on the remaining hostiles.
Something is really annoying happening with camera, and we are getting remote trapped by this Ferris guy, so sure, we cannot really die here, even though we have no tank at all. I think we just need to get closer to this. What we have here? 10 kilometers, 35%, some damage, and about 60% boost to speed. That's decent. Yeah, we are not missing. We're not hitting this guy from that far away, so approaching it is the best strategy. Yeah, now. And again. The actual DPS is of course very small, even compared to this 3.8 times 2. Actually, I could group the weapons using this button to make it a little bit more convenient.
Marvelously done, Captain. Combat can be such a glorious experience, especially when you're winning.
Yeah, the point is that all enemies
Another
have some
hostile ship
resistances,
incoming.
so
A
there
cruiser
is
this time.
decrement
It's
in
larger and
damage,
better armed
and
than
those
those
were
frigates.
quite heavily tanked
What an
frigates.
exhilarating way to test your
actually.
combat abilities.
Okay, now we're going to shoot at a cruiser. So, okay, first of all, I would like to stop looking at it. Now I would like to approach it by double-clicking somewhere next to it, but not at the cruiser, just in case something shoots at us. This will help us to avoid damage, but apparently nothing is even trying to, so we're quite fine. Now let's approach the target, lock it, set orbit. I think orbiting should be done at our optimal range, but I cannot control the actual orbit distance at the moment, so the most important part here would be to put a web on it to make it slow down. Yeah, we still don't have shortcuts, so everything has to be clicked by mouse. And we can jam it, because why the hell not? .2 strength for any type of ECM. The ECM does not help you, it only helps the people around you. It basically now, since about 2 years ago they have fixed it, now works as an aggro in any other MMO. Basically you throw a taunt on an enemy and that enemy can only shoot at you. All other locks are disabled. And now you can see it is grayed out, meaning that we have tried to lock it, we have tried to jam it, but we failed at it. And the probability depends on this strength and the strength of the sensors of our target.
Good job, Captain. You've got potential.
ECM against NPCs is pretty useless.
2 battleships breaking away from the enemy fleet. They're stopping the last civilian transport from warping away. Watch your 6, Captain. They're bigger and badder than anything you've fought before.
Yeah, sure. And you will not let me die,
We can use
I see.
electronic countermeasures, ECM, to break the battleship's lock on the civilian transport.
Yeah, there has been quite
Doing so means the
decent
battleship will be able
DPS done to
target
that
only
cruiser.
one thing, us.
Yeah,
There is no other way to save those civilians. They are not capsuleers like you. Their deaths will be final. Yours will be a learning experience.
actually these battleships, unless fitted with really proper modules, will not even hit us, even if they try to. The other question is, of course, since we only have one ECM module and 2 battleships targets. That makes little sense. Okay, and apparently we don't do any damage to them, even though we clearly hit with very good quality.
That's it. The final group of civilians has escaped. You've done good, Captain.
Okay, I didn't notice.
We're taking heavy fire, Commander Ferris.
Okay,
Once
yeah.
our ship is destroyed,
Now
the pod
they
will soon
have
follow.
us webified
According
and
to my
scrambled.
calculations, our destruction is 99.99% certain.
Yeah, this means that we are going to sit at a very slow speed, and that allows them to hit us actually very well. Although, interestingly enough, we don't get much actual damage dealt to us. I think we just have very low health.
You fought well today, Captain. This is a warrior's
Interesting.
death. Luckily for you, it will not be your last.
Yeah, apparently
You are
not all of that DPS has been properly logged.
Death is not an end. It is simply the beginning of a new adventure. As always, I will see you on the other side. Welcome back to the world of the living, Captain. I hope your death was
Yeah.
not too uncomfortable.
The best way to skip the tutorial is to just, well, die. And you will be restored because you're Capsuleer and you're immortal.
I will enable your station services panel.
Okay, that's
Try not to blow this one
interesting.
up so quickly, but if you do, you can acquire
Okay,
a
and this button is your failsafe that allows you to basically pick up any... At any station you will be able to pick up a Corvette, which is basically an indispensable
access objects currently
ship that you can
at the
throw
station
away at any time.
from your
Destroy, repackage, do whatever you want. Okay, we have some inventory.
Let's take a look at the mod. A
mining laser.
Curious choice, Miss Calatrix.
Interestingly
How
enough,
will
this
a
is
mining module help our investigation?
a useful module actually. It's Tech 1, but it is useful. Maybe not on this ship, unless we're going to start doing something. I really want to get away out of this new player experience, especially if they want to force me into doing some mining. I will remove this window for now, and yeah, I also started this account with a referral link, so I will be taking these 1 million skill points, because you can basically make a referral link for yourself or use other person's link. And yeah, these are just free skill points, very useful at start. So select and redeem to current station, and I will get this 1 million skill points and make character sheet. And I will get to that in a moment. And also daily rewards. Don't forget to pick them up, the first daily rewards are quite nice. And you will get extra skill points as well. As an alpha character, you want every piece of skill points and boosters that you can get. So first of all, I want to go into skill training and start training a little bit some Minmatar frigates. This is the faction that we are flying, and the Minmatar frigates is basically our main ship for a couple of days at least, and then maybe we will switch to Minmatar destroyers once we have them trained to a decent level. Okay, so this is our skill plan, and it will now last for 4 days and 4 hours. Without Omega it's quite slow, but it's for free, that's good. And until we have 5 million skill points total, including these unspent ones, we can basically just log in once in a few days and train our character. Also, I want this floating. And disable transparency, I hate it. So, this. Okay, great. Now we have solid menus and nothing breaks text. Okay, you want me to plug it in? Fine. Actually, it will be normally online by its own, but yeah, they are highlighting you this interface that you get when you are hovering over the module.
Please direct your attention to the icon on the display that I have highlighted for you.
Okay, yeah.
You can add the missing skill to your training queue here.
This is an icon that you get every time that you have something fitted in your ship or in the preview of a ship that you don't have skills to operate. Some Tech 2 modules or some modules that are just even not available to you as Tech 1, drones, weapons, ammunition. Everything has some requirements in EVE Online, and if you don't have those requirements, you will get this hint.
To train the required skill. Do so now.
Yes, well, their suggestion that we should just apply skill points to boost up the training speed of this skill particularly. Well, let's do it then.
Now, all you have to do is confirm that you wish to use those skill points.
Here you have to be a little bit more accurate. You don't want to train probably all at once. So first of all, I will cancel this and I will clean up my queue for the moment. Maybe that's not the most efficient way, but I don't use this feature particularly often. So this 993 trained.
Training required.
I should point out that you can train skills while doing other things. It's a good strategy to always have something to train.
Yes.
To that end, I've sent the air skill plan to your AI. Normally, you would have received it as part of your task in training.
This Calatrix is advised
Yeah,
to be
there is now a list of different skill plans that you can use, and you can press the start training button apparently to just add everything into your queue.
As you continue to grow as a
But
capsule,
realistically,
skill
I don't know if we need, well, maybe we need the repair systems one immediately actually.
Now, close the windows crowding your screen.
This is one of the skills that enables you modules. And if you,
Because of an
well,
untidy display.
yeah, if you double click it, you will get this information window, and in the last tab, required for, you will see all the modules that will be available to you after each level of these skills. So level 4 basically is required for Tech 2 medium and large repairers, 3 for small armor repairer Tech 2, and level 1 is basically enabling you to use Tech 1 and factional and Dead Space modules. It also has other bonuses here per skill level. So yeah, this new interface and new skill plans, they are quite useful if you don't have any idea what you want to do, or rather you have an idea but you don't know how to get there. Because you can open basically, for example, industrial skill plan and go for hauler or alpha miner or manufacturer, or more likely you will go into head for hauler and salager first. And then it gives you information about skills that it suggests you train. You don't have to train them, you don't have to train them in the same order, but it's a good information for you to know what skills will help you on this path. These are very basic things, and eventually you will actually have most of these skill plans trained just because you have tried different parts, and then later you might want to start creating your own plans or use plans provided by your corporation if you join one. So yeah, this is finally a tool in EVE Online where you can start planning things ahead of time.
Now that you have the necessary skills to use it, you can do this from the fitting window.
Yes.
Turn the module
Now that we
on
have the skill, we can put it online.
Well done.
Before that we were able to only fit it, and it was automatically offline because of that. Close it. All windows can be closed by this cross in the upper right.
Our agent will rendezvous with you at the mining site. Keep your eyes open.
Seriously.
Watch your
Miss
Can I
Calatrix
skip
is
this?
right. Time is of the essence.
I think there has been a button somewhere in the help previously to just cancel the training. But yeah, at the moment we don't even have our full overview
Captain, I
interface
have run several
enabled
scenarios that could explain
in
the
space,
mystery
so we
your
cannot
air discovered
really
at the
freely
mining site.
navigate.
According to my calculations, the probability that the situation is unrelated to the attack on the cloning facility is exceptionally
Okay,
small.
now we have
1
this.
in 37 million to
So
be
this
exact.
means that we can try to just jump out.
Warp drive active.
What will happen if I do? I appreciate a lot of work that went into this new player experience, and probably it is good, but for the purpose of this video I hope that people who are watching this or will watch this in future have already done this training in one way or another, and we can just get into the actual gameplay, not simulations.
Let us make haste
Yes,
and warp to the
so
site immediately.
if we are going to jump out, we have this warning, and if we press yes, then it will be completely skipped. Okay, great. And now we finally have normal interface of EVE Online. The new player experience is, well, not so useful for us, but what is useful is career agent. We are going to find the career agent system. It's located one jump away in the system mbot. Usually you will have some other close careers agent system nearby, but we're going to do this mbot system, and we're going to set destination. So right click and set destination to get there, to set autopilot actually, and disable camera shake. Another annoying thing. Okay. Another hint, you can disable those chats. Not completely, but just hide them from plain sight. No, I'm not interested in the offer, and I have unclaimed disk, so yeah, that I will redeem. The things that have this icon on the upper left are going to be redeemed to your main character immediately, or actually to the logged one. Okay, and I'm going to dock. The reason why we want to actually go to career agents is because career agents provide basically ships for free. They are not going to provide them for unlimited interval of time, but they are helping enormously when you start playing. So we are interested primarily in two agents, the combat agent and the industry agent. The combat agent will provide us with a combat frigate, or actually even several of them, and the industry agent will provide us with, well, not freighter, but hauler, the Tech 1 industrial ship. Both of these are actually very useful for us. And again, probably don't need this for now. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat, so I will try to answer them. Okay, so we have a bunch of career agents. So this is the industrial one and then soldier of future. Fortune. Okay, they have reworked them, I guess. Now I need to figure out which one is the more basic one. Yeah, this cash flow for capsuleers is first one that you want to do, and it will just direct you to the ships in the same system. Also, career agents give you some starting disk, so that's reasonably useful as well. I will be using this left panel for navigation, and if you don't see it, then it's probably hidden behind one of those icons. Okay, these NPCs are just junk, so you don't have to be scared of them. They are literally worthless and can be destroyed with anything. You just blow on them and they pop up. But you want to use Afterburner and your gun to approach them, because otherwise you are going to get misses and grazes here, because you are just too far away. Your ship and gun has, well, basically here fall off 5,000 kilometers, so before that your gun is going to be missing the enemy. And I will enable tactical overlay to make it a little bit more transparent. Sorry for the interesting artifacts. Again, Linux is having some interesting graphics issues. And yeah, as you can see, these NPCs are actually getting almost everything that we are dealing with our guns, because they have very low resistances. So we don't really care with which guns we're shooting them. And yeah, this is autocannon, so basically they should be even good for them, because those are angels, and angels have vulnerability to kinetic and, more importantly, explosive, which is the damage type that we're dealing here. And you can see the damage type under the damage caused line. There are two symbols and health points reading. So one says that we are dealing 3 health points of kinetic damage, and the one 4 health points of explosive damage. I want to keep them at range actually, because when you are getting too close, then you are starting to miss enemies again. So let's set default keep at range distance at 2.5 kilometers by right clicking it. And let's just keep kiting those enemies using Afterburner. Okay. Yeah, now we're hitting it. Also, these all modules are civilian modules, so they are complete and utter garbage even compared to the tech ones, so we need to get rid of them as soon as possible. But we need to complete maybe a couple of missions, maybe this one or 2 missions before we get the frigate, and that's the goal. Because frigates unfortunately currently cost around 600,000 to 800,000 ISK in EVE Online currency, so with our ISK count we cannot afford a new hull, and we need one. So then we can join factional warfare and do some actual big ISK farming. Well, relatively big compared to the starting income. Yeah, our guns are so bad that we cannot at the moment even reliably hit targets when we're keeping them at range of 2.5 kilometers, even though the optimal is 800.
Warp drive active.
Or maybe I can try to keep at range at 1 kilometer. Maybe the distance is actually the problem. Ideally, you want to have your gun located at optimal, and you want to have your gun to be able to track your target. If you cannot do tracking, then you need to get to a higher orbit, and if you cannot do damage because of the distance, even though you are barely tracking your enemy. That means that your guns are just bad, and you need to do something about it. For example, you can use target painting modules, or you can use stasis fires to slow down your enemies. And of course, if you are using the latter, you also need to slow down yourself. That's one common mistake of new players who will use stasis fire on an enemy and then try to orbit it on an autoburner, creating still quite high transversal velocity. Okay. We're actually getting a real gun here with real charges. These civilian ones don't even use. Okay. And we are going to get Slasher after this mission. So, eliminate pirates, rescue civilian miner. That's what we need. Just 2 missions and we're going to get a real ship. I'm going to remove the miner, because I don't care about it. And I'm going to add the newly provided Gatling gun and put EMP charges here and put the rest into the cargo so that we have them in the case we need this. Basically, in case we need to reload the thing. 200 charges in autocannons can survive for maybe 1 minute of shooting, then you need to reload them.
Warp drive active.
Okay, let's test our new gun. The reading says it does 11.3 damage per second, and if we are comparing tracking, it is almost 50% better. The optimal is slower, but that is probably because we're actually using the charges. So if every charge type, so this is the basic attributes of our gun, but if we open the information of the EMP charge, it also has some modifications to those. So range, the optimal, is cut by 50%, and tracking is 1. So yeah, I guess that's basically where the penalty to optimal comes from. I'll be using keep at range again, and I will be still using 1 kilometer, because really there is not so much difference anymore if we have 400 or 800, but at the same time fall-off range is about 5 kilometers, so even if we lose a little bit of damage because of the of not being in the optimal range, we're still better to have that than lose tracking. We're shooting at small targets, and small targets are very good at evading our damage. And we are also good, apparently, at evading theirs. Let's keep locking targets.
Skill training completed.
Yeah, we have missed hijacker a couple of times, then we hit it. There is some delay in the damage meter because it needs to process logs. Yeah, and generally it looks like we are not doing a lot of damage to them in terms of quality, but they are still blowing up because they are paper thin. And yeah, these misses are coming from the fact that we are just too far away. I need to have civilians in my cargo hold. And yeah, as we hit the last NPC, we got civilians automatically into our cargo. That's not always happens in EVE Online. Sometimes in some missions you will get them automatically. Sometimes you need to pick up a container. And I'm not doing any looting because no loot here is worth anything at all. Even if you are a newbie. The chances that you will get anything more valuable than the metal scrap from this hijacker wreck is just non-existent.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Okay, so now we have our slasher, and let's see how much time it will take to actually get an industrial ship. Well, probably not worth the time. The most important part is that we got this ship. So we're going to rename it. Your ship name is visible for some players that are, well, relatively close to you. And if your name is still on the ship, they will know that it is you and that you have very little PvP experience, so you will be an easy prey. So always rename your ships. And we're going to repackage the Reaper so that we have the modules from it. Slasher has even more weapon slots, so we can, in theory, have up to 3 guns at the same time. We're not going to, for now, because we don't have modules. But we are going to take these. Also, another thing here. If you don't want to do these missions, or you have done some but lost your ship, these ships that are coming from the training are sold very cheaply on this station. You can find breachers, bursts, probes, rifters even, at very, very, very low prices. That's because people are getting them for free and are selling them here. In fact, if you want to make a good business, you can probably just buy them and move them to some other place. Okay, this is one of the industrials that you get from the training, but we don't really have at the moment enough money for that. So for now we just go on like this. What we need to do is to find the closest trade hub for Minmatar space, and if you are starting Minmatar, you will be in Minmatar space. It's probably going to be Heck. So we are going to, okay, it jumps to Heck, and if we're going to use Rents, that's another 5 jumps there, that's closer. So go to Rents, and we are going to use modules sold by players there to outfit our ship a little bit, because currently it's an empty hull. It is very weak, extremely weak. With 1 million skill points and even, well, 400,000 worth of modules, you can get a decently combat capable fighter, or frigate in this case. Fighters are not flyable. These are specialized super large drones for capital ships. Okay, so yeah. We get a bit lower damage per second from this gun on this ship, apparently the bonuses that we were getting from the noob ship, so-called the breacher, the starting corvette, they are not basically they are not per skill level of anything, but these min-matter frigate bonuses are per skill level, and because our min-matter frigate skill is relatively low at the moment, we basically are not having those. Why do we have mining frigate? I probably have plugged in wrong skill. Okay, so let's cancel these. There is a lot of skills in EVE Online, and you can use these filters here if you want to limit the menu. And especially if you don't know what you're looking for and where to find it. Like this. Okay, I need to remove this for a moment. Level 4 is maximum for alpha character, for alpha clone, and it is actually a very good level to have, because frigate-sized ships for min-matter, or for any faction, include also exploration ships, and those exploration ships get a decent bonus per skill level, so you want to have this trained to level 4 as soon as possible, basically for any activity that you might want to do in EVE Online, either for combat or for exploration. These are mandatory. And then level 5 is basically a prerequisite for flying Tech 2 frigates. But again, if you are an alpha clone, you cannot get that. What else do we need? You probably want to have these gunnery skills, especially ones that are already available to you immediately, trained at least to level 3 as soon as possible, because those levels are really cheap to train in terms of skill points. I will remove this actually, and I will use our skill point boosting capacity to train level 3 everywhere. This will improve our optimal fall-off, damage dealing, and other properties of the ships. This actually, do we have it injected? Yes, that's also good. Another 3% per skill level, so 9% of damage out of nothing. So 6 days, and if we apply these, that would cost us 148,000 skill points. That's a lot. What's expensive skills we have here? So trajectory analysis probably will stay at 2, and surgical strike as well. Not that critical. Yeah, now that's good. 90,000 skill points, and we are already having the absolute minimal requirements to fly autocannon ship. So yeah, you can see that our damage jumped by 40% already. I need to buy stuff here. So first of all, I'm interested in guns. And mobility modules. So turrets, projectile turrets, autocannons, small, that's the size of guns that goes into our frigate ship. And yeah, so this is a station where everything happens. But let's see what we have in terms of actual guns. They are quite expensive. except for this Meta 2 maybe. So we are going to buy 3 of them. You always want to have guns of the same type, of the same caliber and the same meta level, so that you can first of all group them, and also because you want to have the same properties. All guns vary in fall of optimal balance versus tracking balance, so if you change the size, then you might end up with a little bit inconvenience. Yeah, and we're not going for the largest size for the moment, because largest size costs just too much. It's not that important at the moment. So removing this. And dragging them onto our ship. And we can immediately group them by pressing this button and put charges and also reload the rest. Okay. These are 16.8 per gun, so we are already up to 50 DPS. That's not much for any PvP related scenario, but realistically that is enough for handling basic NPCs that you will encounter. The other module that you want to have on this ship is basically some kind of tanking and mobility. So first of all, for mobility, since we are very limited yet in our fitting reserves, we want to have afterburners rather than micro warp drive probably. Also they help with evading the damage, so we're going to use 1 meganewton compact afterburner if it is at a decent price. No, it's not. So yeah, Tech 1, the just Tech 1 version. Need to make it extremely cheap. And then we want to have gyro stabilizers for our damage application. Actually, just damage flat. 257,000. Okay, I guess we can afford 2 of them. And our DPS grew up to 66. And now we need to do something about our shield. Because this ship is fighting at the moment mostly frigates if you are staying in Minmatar Republic, and it's going to fight mostly angels. You don't need much armor tank or any other tank. You can just go with shield, which is primary for this ship because it has more medium slots than low slots, and it has no bonuses to either shield or armor. And shields have higher natural resistances to kinetic and explosive, which means that they are better than armor to be used against our angels, who also shoot explosive and kinetic. Since we are very limited in what we have in terms of fitting resources, and most importantly our capacitor, it's probably better to have an Ancillary Shield Booster as our main tanking for the moment. This shield booster is a special thing. It uses charges. Actually, we don't have shield operation level 2, so let's fix that. Okay, that's expensive. And nearby we have only 50,000. Okay, no Ancillary Shield Booster for now. Okay, let's ignore the damage and tanking for the moment. The most important thing that we need to have is survival and agility, and probably inertia stabilizer is probably going to be the best module for us. We have all requirements necessary. So for now, let's remove those gyro stabilizers and keep them in cargo. And then take our ship and fit it. Okay, Tech 2 ones are also expensive, so let's use 2 Tech 1s. Fine. That's good for now. Let's find some factional warfare action. So factional warfare is basically fight between 2 factions. In this case, we are suggested that we might want to join either Minmatar versus Amar, or there is also Kaldari versus Galente. And there are alliances between Amar Empire and Kaldari, and Minmatar and Galente. Since we are actually... Since Amars have better domination, we want to be on their side for the moment, because that will help us, first of all, finding more contested systems that we can defend, and for that we don't need any guns at all, and it will also help us with the payouts, because the higher is the tier of every faction, the more loyalty points, that's what we are looking actually for, we will get. Okay, so the fastest way to get there would be maybe to just fly directly to the system that we're going to fight in. I think this 98 looks very good, and we are going to set our autopilot into shorter. So Amamaki, yeah, that is a dangerous system, but maybe we can survive it. So my goal at the moment is to just fly to that low security space. Low security space is area where there is no NPC police protecting you. So normally in EVE Online in high security space, if you get attacked or if your loot is stolen by another player, okay, actually if you get attacked only, then NPC police will show up and try to destroy them. They might destroy you first, of course, and there is delay how much time it takes for them to appear, and there is difference in how much, well, how efficient they are, let's say, in protecting you. They can be delayed by up to 30 seconds in the system that has this 0.5 security status. Security status varies from -1 to 1, with 1 being the most secure and everything below 0 basically being completely unprotected. The low security space is 0.1 to 0.4, and that's where we are heading. Players are not extremely aggressive in low security space, but you can find a few pirate corporations especially liking to protect specific areas. For example, the Samamaki system is one that is famous for causing a lot of destruction. Okay, Edencom forces we can ignore for the moment. They are not going to attack us because we have no standings with them or their enemy, Triglavians. On the other hand, if you have something similar showing up and it says Triglavian system, then you need to be careful within it. You can fly through, but if you fly in something fast. Otherwise you might get attacked by NPCs, even in high security space. And those attacks are quite deadly. Okay, so we have done first hour. We are now on a frigate and we are heading towards Amamaki system to join factional warfare and try to earn some first loyalty points for ourselves. Okay, there has been no one here. The overview has been empty when we entered Tamamaki system, but the system is not empty. It has 14 players currently sitting somewhere, and I need to prepare this. This is our eyes and ears within any unsecured system, because this is a tool, the directional scanner, that allows us to see enemies. That's accessible here by pressing this button. Okay, we don't need this, and we're alone in this system, but I want to go to this Arnar. When you have this window open, you want to press V by default, or this scan, to get information around you. That basically allows you to see more than you see in the overview. You get some signatures here, some ship names and some ship types, and other objects like wrecks and towers. And this is useful to identify if there is anybody near you in terms of flying some ship in the space. Not all ships are visible there, so it's not 100% protection, but it is very useful against most combat capable ships, at least. So what is our situation in terms of navigation? So our align time is 2.68 seconds. This means that from the moment we press warp till the moment our ships go into warp, it's just 2.68 seconds. That's quite fast. If you have align time that is below 2 seconds, you are virtually uncatchable within low security space, and even now you still have to be, somebody still has to be very prepared to catch you, have specialized ship or a booster to increase the chances of catching a frigate. Okay, that's very nice, but the system has no stations, so we cannot join factional warfare immediately. I will return to the gate using Afterburner. This normal Afterburner gives us much more speed bonus than the civilian one, even if it is just a basic Tech 1 module. Okay, so this is also a system captured by Amar Empire, so we will pick a random station, dock there, and let's see what we can do. Okay, also we have no skills training, so let's return level 4 Minimatar frigate into training queue. And also some engineering skills. Okay, so power bit management and CPU management level 4 are very, well, basically must-have skills. And maybe these energy grid upgrades as well, at least to level 3. But we now have quite good starting skills. And we are going to enlist into factional warfare as Amar Empire. As you can see, we have went from a newbie to traitor in just 65.5 minutes. Yes, this warning will show up every time you are in docking, because now people who have this icon in local, they are permitted to attack you without consequences within low sec and high security space. So we are effectively now at war with half of the universe. But the benefit is that the other half is actually protecting us to some extent. So what was the system? Okay, don't sit like this at station, so warp to any object. and I need to get to this very contested system. Yeah, this one. Maybe we are going to be lucky to prevent it from being captured immediately. But judging by the amount of players, might be not a good idea. Okay, somebody left their drones here. Vespa EC600s are not anything worth picking up. Okay, there is a lot of people here, and you can see that they have differently colored icons. So these icons indicate that people are in our militia, basically our alliance. They will probably not attack us unless we provoke them, especially since we are just a newbie. And we want to open probe scanner because, okay, the problem is, in order to participate in these activities, you need to find locations that are basically highlighted here in this probe scanner, the so-called combat sites, and unfortunately there is nothing here. Probably all these people have already used up all those combat sites. So let's find some nearby system where we can actually do farming. Well, this Igmar system had one enemy in it, but this Orfold might be a good approach. Our ship is obviously not combat capable at all. The only thing that we can do is do a little bit of shooting. That's in case some tackler will show up that has no guns on their own, and we can try to use afterburner to move around. But our best defense are those two inertial stabilizers, and I will check our navigation skills to see if we can actually run between places even faster. Yeah, this. So this evasive maneuvering skill, I will apply skill points for it immediately, because this will reduce the warp out time for us. And level 3 is basically just must have. Okay. And now warp out is now 2.4 seconds. Still not good. Still not enough to be completely immune to enemies. Yeah, so if you look at this information here, there are some combat sites listed. Open outposts, Amar open, Amar novice, Amar small, Amar medium. So we are capable of entering all of those outposts, but not every ship is. So if you are finding this small outpost, for example, it is limited to destroyer size ships. Okay. This is Amar Empire system, so we can dock into these stations here. If you are joining factional warfare, you will be limited in this right. If you are in a system that is under control of other factional warfare faction. Let's see. There is some Merlin here, meaning that in theory, some enemy might show up next to us and try to mess up our play. Let's get closer to the station so that we are in a relative safety and can dock up immediately if anybody shows up. can we go? When you have too many people here, that's definitely not a safe place to be for a person who just started. We don't want to engage in PvP activity right now, so we want to avoid it as much as possible. On the bright side, we are flying ships that we literally got in 1 hour from scratch, so if anything happens, yeah, we have just seen an enemy here, and yeah, if anything just happens, we can just restart, create a new character, and start from the tutorial, or go back to those agents and get another ship. They have quite a few during the training. Okay. So we have enemy on Hound, somewhere nearby. Yeah, and they disappeared. When there is no one blinking here in the overview, or actually even sitting here in the overview next to us, we can more or less safely warp. At this warp out speed, nobody can catch us really, if they are not immediately ready to do that. So beware of orange stars in the local, and we can maybe make this a little bit more friendly, so only text here, and in the list we can have show compact member list. This helps if there is a lot of people nearby. And let's jump. There is surprisingly a lot of activity going on. Okay, there is now one person here, and a lot of other people. So let's try the small outpost actually. No ships nearby in the space, at least ones not cloaked and not having other types of protection from scanning. So we are pretty safe entering this gate. And now we are next to a friendly destroyer ship. This is Imperial Destroyer, meaning it's our ally, even though it says basically that it is red, there is indication for that. We don't really have to be aware, we don't have to be worried about it. Okay, it is trying to shoot us still, so orbit it at 500 so that it doesn't do a lot of damage to us. And there is now Catalyst somewhere in the scan range. Okay. No. So it is in scan range when we have the range at 15 astronomical units, but not in 5 astronomical unit range, so it's not nearby to us, and it's not even trying to enter this PLEX. The gate is about 100,000 to 1 million kilometers away, so way shorter range than this, so we don't have to be scared about that either. I really don't understand at the moment why we are not contesting this, because we should be defending actually. How? Okay, apparently I have accidentally entered the wrong factional warfare. That's not good. But okay, let's change the strategy a little bit. So first of all, we need to go to the blue system. This looks good. 44% contested. The contest rate is basically helping us to know how much we are going to earn from protecting the system. At rate of 90% or 100%, for example, we are going to get almost full payout. And yes, it is penalized for being defensive plexing, but it is still quite a lot of money for a novice. At the same time, for offensive plexing, you need to have also capabilities to destroy those NPC ships, just like the one we have tried at the moment. So actually, with this ship, I might have just killed it, because we definitely have enough damage to kill this destroyer, and it was unable to hit us because we were on afterburner on a small ship. But let's not risk somebody coming to that contested system to kill us. Starting with the safest approach. And now we see two pirates here in the system. They are not exactly pirates, but they are suspects, meaning that they have committed some aggressive PvP activity. In low sec, this in practice means that they have attacked someone. So we really don't want to stay in this system, because these people might decide to chase us somewhere. So just escape as soon as possible, so that they know that we cannot be caught easily. When you are in a system that has your faction in control, you will get more or less higher protection also from the presence of people in the system. Enemies flying in will be a little bit less certain about who is where and on what, so that helps for your protection. Okay, no factional warfare, guys, and we have at least one station, so these people might be sitting somewhere. And now, since there are no factional warfare people here, we can pick the actually largest outpost. But let's not. Let's go for medium one, for example. Because the payouts for between large and medium are not that dramatically different. Okay, and one left. After a while you will see if there is any activity in the system, if people are coming in or going out. People that have just came in have the highest chance of trying to do something with you, because they might be on active hunting, or they might be just flying by. If they are flying by or they have just logged into one of these stations, then they are not a threat. You might also try to check their information and see what is their corporation and what is actually their representative in the game. Are they a PvP corporation, or are they a PvP alliance, or doing something else? This actually doesn't look anything serious. Most PvP corporations will have some swag on them. Okay, some Japanese people. It's very late for them, so they probably are not going to be active. And it's also academy, so this person is still in training somewhere for. So again, probably not an active PvPer. And of course you can copy their names and check them on that guild board or some other intelligence site to see if they are actively engaging in PvP. Okay, now we are finally in a defensive plex. So as you can see, this Republic cruiser is not attacking us, and it's actually going to help us in case somebody enters this location, so long as we are actually capable of well, capturing and disabling the enemy. But here we are just orbiting this beacon inside this plex. We don't have to be that close. There is a range here around 30 something. You can see this green line. This is the sphere radius within which you should be located, and within which basically this timer keeps counting. When this timer goes down, we are going to see the actual payout of loyalty points. Okay, there is Tristan coming into the system, and it's actually quite close to us. So let's prepare to warp out by pressing the align button in case it comes here. Well, not immediately at least. So I'm going to just get a little bit away and stop the ship by pressing Control Space, and then keep spamming. Okay, so that was just a passerby, and the timer keeps counting. Yeah, this is a little bit boring, but it is maybe as interactive as PvP gets in EVE Online. Most time in EVE Online you will spend hours preparing your attack against someone or searching for them somewhere. So this is just your normal PvP day in EVE Online. Sitting, looking, checking, waiting. And the benefit of factional warfare is that you can do that and at the same time earn a decent amount of ISK. So this PLEX alone will grant us at least about 20 million ISK. So 20 minutes, 20 million ISK. Of course, it will be another story how we can take those ISK out of this warfare and how we can monetize them and get a ship. Okay, Astero and Magnate. Magnate is a scan ship, Astero is also a scan ship, but Astero is also a cloaky ship, so we want to be careful with how close they are to us and be ready to warp out. Our ship is quite fast, so long as we just check that nobody is available next to us immediately in the overview, so within these 4 rows, we will be able to warp out much faster than they warp in and start locking us. So we have maybe 3 to 5 seconds even gap. And then we can just pick any station, warp out there, and then approach it. Again, as a frigate with Afterburner, we can do that relatively quickly. I have switched the scanner to kilometers, so you can see that we are now scanning at a much closer range. Basically, we are just covering immediate range where the entry gate is located. For example, this Vedmak. I don't believe that it is an enemy, but let's see. Be prepared, because they are entering the complex, probably. Very likely. Disappeared. So warped out. Yeah, probably the guy just warped into the entry gate, did the same thing, checked that there is some frigate inside, and since there are no frigates basically of enemy faction or any pilots inside the system, they also have this information, they just decided, nah, I'm not going even to enter and mess with our farm. Because what we are doing is actually helpful for the whole faction, not only for our wallet. Basically, this contested rating, when it reaches 100, and it is increased every time enemy does this offensive capturing by destroying our ships and sitting next to the beacon. Basically, whenever this happens, the system will change its ownership and it will transfer to an enemy faction. Now we are here doing the defensive side, so we are reducing this contested rating. And when that goes to 0, the system is basically considered stable. And we don't have to... we will not be able to receive anything anymore. Yeah, so this is a friendly militia. I'm not going to do anything at the moment. If they decide to attack us, they will get a penalty. Okay. They did decide to attack us. Fine, that's good. But there is a solution to that. So there is a militia chat. If somebody attacks you there and they belong to your faction, then you just take what's called kill right, or actually kill report. I think you have it here immediately. yeah, so this one, and you drag it into militia. And thus you let other people know that this particular person is basically a traitor and that it attacked somebody of their own faction. Okay, since we had only this one ship, we probably should have been a little bit more careful, but that is a good still way to demonstrate how you handle this kind of recovery. So what we are going to do now is save this location, because we probably are going to return here. And since we are in Minmatar Republic faction, we can go back to our training agents and just continue them to get a little bit more ships. Set destination, and we are going to board our corvette. These are free. The problem with corvettes, and that's the reason why we actually need to go back now, is that corvettes cannot enter any of those plexes. So and there is also downtime, and probably after downtime I will not be able to continue at the moment, so I will just get out of this low sec immediately, and after the downtime I will call it a day. I will probably continue either later today in the evening in my time zone, or maybe even tomorrow. That being said, thank you for watching, and if you want to review the process of starting, oh yeah, sure, I need to continue after the downtime to get this bonus, so maybe for 15 minutes just to get to the agent. Thus, let's make a short break and let's continue after the downtime. Okay, welcome back. So the downtime is over, and I'm heading to complete the first 120 minutes of the game, and at the same time I'm going to rebuild the lost frigate. By flying back to the career agents and doing a couple of missions more. Our ship has returned from the emergency warp out. That's what happens every time you log off by either yourself or forced log off during the downtime in space. Your ship will just randomly warp out to 1 million kilometers into a random direction. And now we have returned back to from that warp, and we can go on. Yeah, this ship is actually very slow. I don't know who sends invite to a fleet in militia chat, and I don't know these people, so I'm not going to join them at the moment. So there are 14 people in the militia chat. I think we can wait a little bit more and then post our kill mail again, or actually loss mail in this case, because we have been destroyed. Just to let other people know that this person is not friendly. And in future, of course, you can be paranoid and warp out in case of any entrance to your location, especially if you're flying a ship that is not capable of defending, especially if you have only one ship left, so you don't have reserves to just buy another hull and another set of modules. Just warp out. And keep warping between different stations, and ideally just warp to a station, get into the range of docking, and sit there for some time. If somebody shows up, dock up. In the worst possible case, you can always log off either in station, which is preferable, or on a safe spot. I will later demonstrate how to make those. But basically, during the flight between two locations, you just press Ctrl B, and you need to press submit button after that while you are still in flight, and it will create a location that is not warpable by other people directly. So they need to use probe scanner, or at least directional scanner and combination of some probe scanning to locate your ship before they can warp onto you. How much time left? don't you dare to tell me that it has been reset. Yeah, it has been. Great job, CCP. I mean, literally. Well, don't start playing EVE on the first day less than 2 hours before the downtime. This bonus will not apply. But on the other hand, it's probably going to be only the first day and first time, so we are not going to get this multiple times, so it doesn't really matter if you get it on the second day. And then, one important thing, if you are starting playing EVE, pay attention to the skilling spree bonuses. They are very generous in terms of skill points. You will get either tasks to kill 1, 3, 5 or 10 NPCs, and for NPC you will get 2500 skill points. That's quite a decent boost. So 25,000 skill points is basically, for an alpha clone, 1 day of training. I don't need directional scanner within high security space. Even though I'm formally at war, it's enough to just check that there are no enemy militia in the local chat. And usually enemy militia will not appear in the space controlled by your faction, because there it will be attacked by faction police. Not Concord, but faction police, and while they are not incredibly powerful, they are very annoying, so unless it's like organized PvP fleet. You can think about it as factional warfare in World of Warcraft, for example, where Horde can enter Alliance territory with some raid and purpose to kill some people who are sleeping while farming. I don't know if that happens very often in EVE. Another potential income source while you are doing factional warfare, you might want to check around for wrecks and abandoned drones. Some of wrecks will contain Tech 2 modules, which are quite expensive, so you might find a wreck that will basically contain enough modules to outfit you a few Tech 1 frigates for the future. Okay, so now I'm going to do one trick. So first of all, I'm going to trash the old Reaper. Then I'm going to repackage this one. Oh, sorry. I'm going to leave it, repackage it, to get all the modules out of it, and then trash it, and then board a new one. The reason why I want to do this is to get the second gun. Very simple. So we have one civilian gun with this, and now we have another civilian Gatling gun lying from another creature. Oh, sorry, Reaper. Okay, good, good. This we are not interested in. This might be problematic now. So if you are starting playing EVE Online, maybe you just want to go through these tutorials. I have another video from 1 year ago where I go through every single career agent here. But in principle you don't have to have the slasher to complete this. First of all, we want to kill this Weber drone because it is going to apply stasis Webifier on us, which will make our life much more difficult. It controls the distance, so we cannot really approach it, and instead we have to rely on our guns being able to kill it at the fall-off that it sets. Okay, now we can try to kill another one. This one is not a stasis Webifier drone, so it's not as dangerous, but it probably tries to get away from us. And now let's lock other targets. Control clicking helps enormously. And on this ship I will just keep approaching them without setting keep distance. Since we have actually added some skills, these guns are now way more efficient than they were when we just started 2 hours ago, so we don't really need to have slasher to kill these enemies. Okay, let's ensure the secret documents are in cargo so we can press dock. Yeah, I will continue the stream today, later in the evening, because I still want to see what is this 120 minutes is bonus going to look like. Is it worth it or not? But for the time being, I am going to just farm up back to slasher. I will probably buy one from the market, and that will be all for now. Okay, there is actually a cheap one just 2 jumps away, and that's 60,000 saved money, so yeah, let's just go there. Why can't I set destination? Ah, because it's already set there. Fine. Yeah, now it's updated. And let's sure that we have inertial stabilizers nearby. In the next system and Fabronics we have some. So let's go there. We don't need any of that. Maybe Gatling Cannons can go with us. So as you can see, all stations that are located on your autopilot path are highlighted in yellow, so that's very convenient when you are searching for something that is on the way to pick up. And since I have removed the autopilot path, I need to restore location to this one. Let's check if we have anything more convenient or cheap. No. So first I'm going to dock, and while I'm flying I can already buy 2 of those inertial stabilizers. And in this destination station we can just buy 1 slasher. So by the time we arrive in each of the stations we will have all the necessary items. So it's about 30 minutes to regrind and rebuild your slasher within current market situation. Of course, those cheap slashers are not going to be available all the time, but since they are given out to a lot of novice players who cannot really haul them out easily, they will be available, maybe not as cheap, but at least 300,000, 400,000 discs. So 1 mission for a career agent and you can fly again.
Warp drive active.
At some point maybe it's a good idea to try out those bashing fleets, especially if we get to fly some more combat capable ship. For example, a destroyer can produce quite a decent amount of damage for its size, and even with small guns, so it can be useful as extra gun power in such a fleet. But since it's a PvP activity, it's not really recommended until you are familiar with all core mechanics of combat. So until you know how to fly, which modules to use, how to fit your ship by yourself, or at least know where to find a decent fit.